Some retirement software feels like it was built for financial advisors, or people who just love spreadsheets. But most people just want a tool that helps them make smarter retirement decisions without feeling overwhelmed. So I tested the leading platforms to see which one actually gives the clearest guidance, which one offers the deepest analysis, and which one is actually worth paying for. Now, to figure out the best retirement planning software for individuals, we have to start with knowing what you actually need help with. Because when you look at Boldin, ProjectionLab, and Pralana side by side, they all promise to answer the same big question: can I retire? But the way they get you there is totally different. When you compare them, the biggest difference comes down to how much guidance versus control you want. Boldin is the most balanced option. It combines deep retirement and tax planning with a cleaner interface, account syncing, and built-in education, which makes it ideal for pre-retirees and retirees who want professional-level analysis without feeling like they're managing a spreadsheet. Protection Lab takes a more visual and flexible approach, using interactive flowcharts and sandbox modeling that appeals more to younger DIY investors and FIRE enthusiasts, that's a financial independence retire early, who enjoy experimenting with different scenarios and want to plan for their future. Pralana is the most detailed and customizable of the three, but it also has the steepest learning curve. I think that makes it best suited for those highly analytical users who want to fine-tune every assumption manually. In practice, I think that Boldin sits at this sweet spot right in the middle. It offers much more of the depth that makes Pralana powerful, while also delivering a more polished and guided experience that is easier for most people to use. Projection Lab is more modern and visually engaging, but it's often favored by users who are still building wealth rather than those focused on retirement distribution and tax strategy. Pralana can model extremely complex situations, but its spreadsheet-like workflow appeals mainly to those detail-oriented planners and people who like those spreadsheets. But for most people who want robust planning, actionable insights, and an easier path to confident retirement decisions, I think that Boldin is the strongest all-around choice. The easiest way to see these differences in real time is by looking at how each tool really handles those real retirement planning decisions. Boldin runs Monte Carlo analysis differently than the others. So Boldin runs thousands of market simulations to stress test your retirement plan under different market conditions. That way, you can see if your money survives the bad times, not just the good times. But for any of these details, don't just take my word for it. Take this user, for example. He uses Boldin specifically because it covers tax scenarios. It covers Roth conversions, RMD, and tax estimation, all of these unique scenarios all in one place. He highlighted that he looked at a lot of retirement planning tools, and Boldin was the best consumer-oriented one that suited his needs. Boldin also recently added something called financial wellness metrics. This gives you a snapshot of where you actually stand today, not just 30 years from now. For anyone dealing with an inherited IRA, too, Boldin now walks you through those decisions step by step. That's huge because actually making a mistake with an inherited account can cost you tens of thousands in taxes. The Roth Conversion Explorer is another area that Boldin shines. Unlike some competitors that just tell you to convert, Boldin actually helps you pick the right years to convert in so that you can pay less tax over your lifetime. Now, Projection Lab also runs Monte Carlo simulations, but it leans hard into backtesting against real historical data. I used this to test how soon I could actually reach my financial independence, and it showed me exactly where my plan was strong and where it was too optimistic. I found this Projection Lab retirement software review of this user, which reinforced how the community really loves using this tool. He said that he uses Projection Lab and loves it. He further highlighted that it is super comprehensive and that the guy running it is constantly updating the software based on community input. But here's what I noticed. Projection Lab appeals more to people still building wealth. It tends to feel more naturally geared towards accumulation planning and flexible scenario testing. Pralana, on the other hand, is the deepest of all of them. Users praise this as one of the most powerful, transparent, and mathematically rigorous retirement calculators available. So if you want that detail, it's here. It handles taxes, ACA healthcare subsidies, highly customized scenarios that you wouldn't actually get to unless you had very, very special situations, and it handles it better than almost any other program. But there is a trade-off here. The learning curve is much steeper. You actually need to know what you're doing to get good answers. You actually need to know how to use the tools, what to look for, how to fix things up so that your future is more secure. If you compare this to the others, it is much deeper and more complex. If you compare them directly, Boldin is probably the easiest for most people to learn and use. Projection Lab is the most visual and flexible for scenario testing, and Pralana gives you the deepest level of customization and options if you're comfortable managing a more technical setup. But the trade-off really just comes down to simplicity versus control. But of course, none of these platforms are going to be perfect for any single person. Even the one you choose is going to have some downsides, and here are a few downsides that you should be aware of before deciding. With Boldin, the main issue isn't the math, it's the paywall. Some of the really cool advanced features, like detailed breakdowns of inherited IRAs, require the paid plan. And that's just how it is sometimes. So while the free version is great, if you really want to see the full financial wellness metrics, you're going to want to upgrade. And that's not really a flaw, it's just how serious tools work, but some people decided to mention it in their reviews. With ProjectionLab, users often complained about the trial limitations, which is along the same lines. So ProjectionLab lets you test every feature during the trial, which is great, and it's kind of better than Boldin, but the only catch is it's not going to save your work when you stop your trial session. You have to start over from scratch every time you log in without this paid plan, which I think is better because at least you get to test all the features and you just don't get to save. But Pralana has a few technical hiccups that scared me a little bit more. It is more detailed and more in-depth, so there are more likely to be some issues here. A user said that when running the Roth optimizer, it sometimes spits out negative conversion values, which, as he pointed out, is obviously not legal. It's just a reminder that with highly advanced planning tools, you do still need to verify assumptions and outputs carefully. It's a tool. There are hiccups sometimes. They get quickly fixed, but you do need to actually keep this in mind when you're using these. Now, when you're searching for the best retirement planning software for you, the price tag might matter just as much as the features, right? So let me start with Boldin. Boldin has a free version and a paid version. With the free plan, you get the core planning tools, simple what-if scenarios, and some basic projections. The paid plan, called Planner Plus, costs just $12 a month. For that, you get much more advanced planning tools and more insight into the program itself. But there's also a plan called Boldin Advisors, which gives you a comprehensive retirement plan checkup and deep involvement. And this is priced at a $2,800 flat fee. So you might want to use this if you have an extremely complex situation and you need outside help for someone who just wants to check in and make sure everything is good. But that is its own flat fee that people can go use. So ProjectionLab also has a free basic plan. Their paid plan includes the premium plan, which offers professional-grade DIY tools for professional and retirement planning, and it's priced at $129 per year. Then there's also the Pro plan, which is priced at $549 per year, but that might be worth it if you're going to use it all year and you use all of the tools. So when you add it up, Boldin gives you, I think, the best balance of affordability and guidance. ProjectionLab is great for more visual tinkerers who don't mind paying a little bit more for flexibility and paying a one-time fee for the whole year. And Pralana is actually a budget-friendly option, but only if you already know what you're doing. So check the links in the description below if you want to see the most updated pricing plans and any current deals, active coupons, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think the best retirement planning software really just depends on how you like to plan. But for most people who want strong retirement analysis without feeling overwhelmed, in my opinion, Boldin gives the best balance of guidance, depth, and ease of use. Check that link in the description to explore each tool and see which one actually fits your retirement goals best.